you who to be. Before the criticism, before the expectations, before you learned to shrink, to perform, or to pretend. There was an unwritten self, pure curiosity, natural joy, and preferences that were not yet labeled or judged. That self didn't disappear, they just went quiet. The question that opens every real conversation of growth is this: who were you before life wrote its story on you? And the question that follows is: what would you do to have them again? This season is called The Interior. There's 5 episodes and one journey inward, from identity to fracture to tools to rebuilding and integration. We start exactly where we must, at the beginning. Please welcome co-founder of Pambana Enterprise and the third-year pharmacy student at the University of Zambia, Daliso Mwemba. So good to have you here, Daliso.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for just agreeing to do this and, just talk about things that you've probably buried.
Yeah, it will definitely be an interesting conversation.
Yeah. Now, Daliso, I'm really curious to know what you loved doing as a child.
As a child, I was very introverted. I grew up mostly by myself. I spent a lot of time alone, and I was really curious about stuff. I read a lot of books, and I always wanted to find out what the world is about. Yeah, that's how I grew up.
Yeah. Did you have parts where you used to play a lot with friends in your neighborhood, or?
Yeah, I used to play with friends in my neighborhood, and also I had a lot of toys where I would play alone. So I grew up mostly alone because I was the first child, so I didn't have siblings to play around with, and yeah, that's the kind of environment that I grew up in.
Yeah. And during that play, did you experience any sort of joy or just any feeling that you can remember?
Yes. One feeling that I mostly felt is a feeling of freedom, because there were no expectations. I would be my genuine self without supposed to present as a certain person to people. So that freedom kept me alive and kept me curious to always want to learn new things, to experiment without fear of being judged or being ridiculed or any sort of thing.
What did you feel that feeling in your body?
I think it feels within yourself, just
right? So your heart, your mind, your stomach.
I think the heart mostly.
The heart, right?
Yes.
And then when did you notice that feeling start to disappear in your journey of growth?
I think it disappeared when I started to interact more with different people, and also when I started to get into school, discover that, okay, this is the way you're supposed to behave. There's all kind of restrictions that come in. You can't dress like this. So it sort of limited me to be a certain kind of person that the society has already projected on me, and not genuinely be my true self.
True self.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think reflecting on your childhood is very important for someone who's growing? Do you think it brings some level of truthfulness in you?
Yes, it does, because when you're young, you have not yet been exposed to a lot of things in society. So it's easy to develop yourself first, to know what you really are as a person. Then even as you explore the world and you experience different things in the world, you already have that strong grounding to say, this is who I am before the world, before all this comes in. This is who Daliso is, and this is who he should grow on to be. So I think it's very important to always reflect back to that Daliso, the young Daliso, because it's a blueprint of the kind of person that you're supposed to be as you grow.
And do you still feel that connection? Does it feel alive when you think about it right now? Or maybe when you look at your old pictures, do you feel like you're living in the moment?
Yes, I think for a period of time, I lived in that sort of moment where I felt I wasn't myself. I would always live to expectations. But I think as I've grown, I've realized that I need to get back to my genuine self. And I've done that a lot, and it has helped me to just be my genuine self and achieve my full potential, because I'm using my capabilities, my skills, my experiences. I'm using them to my benefit, because I know that this is what I'm good at. This is who I am before I learn different things in the world.
You know that in today's world, so many people have lost that connection, and it feels like we're living in a world where so many people just have to pretend to be someone they're not. Do you think just them reconnecting with that truth will also help them find a sense of truthfulness as well, just as the way you find yours.
Yes, I think it definitely will, because we always try to shift ourselves to from the genuine self that we are, and try to fit in into different personas, different personalities, different characters that have been created by society. Society will say, no, you should be nonchalant, you should be this, you should be that. But your genuine self, if you are not that, the more you pretend to be that, it limits you from achieving what you would achieve if you were your genuine self. For example, I discovered that I work best when I'm introverted, when I'm alone. I've stopped trying to force social conversations because I understand that they drain me, and the more I'm isolated, I'm more productive, I'm more creative, and the world will see more benefit from me when I'm alone like that, compared to when I'm forcing social conversations and all that. So going back to your genuine self to understand who you truly are is very important. Yes.
Okay, so from your answer, I have learned that it is very important to find your identity. If not, then it's going to be very hard for you to connect with people. So what would you say to someone out there who's trying to find the identity, but it's just so hard for them to reconnect and to just maybe interact with people? Do you think them just being themselves, or just the steps that they have to take for them to just find themselves again, what would you say?
I think firstly, the most important thing would be to shut out what people say about you, what people try to force onto you. I think the first thing is to try and really reconnect with yourself. I think the problem is we tend to open ourselves to the world, to listen to whatever people say on social media, people say on TikTok and all that, but we don't really understand who we are genuinely, because we are created differently. So it's hard for someone out there to tell you that you should be this when you do not know what you are meant to be. So I think the first step would be to really listen to yourself, understand how you work best, understand your strengths, your skills. Having that full self-concept will be a great launch pad for you to be able to excel in different fields, because you really know who you are as a person, and you'll be able to use your skills to your fullest of potential. Yes.
So you found that being an introvert is your identity.
Yes.
Okay. So we've learned that what might work for someone might not work for you. You don't go out there copying what people are doing. For example, if your friend is a dancer, you also want to be a dancer on TikTok. If your friend goes for conferences, you also want to go for conferences. Please don't do that, by all means. Try to find your own identity and be the person that you desire to be, and not what the world wants from you. And now, Daniso, what would you say to that younger version of yourself that loved to do all the things that they used to do when they were young?
I think I'll tell my younger self not to try to be perfect, because trying to be perfect would limit the potential that lies within myself. So I'll tell my younger self to be genuine and trust that things will work out without really trying to be perfect all the time.
And what advice do you have for someone who's lost hope in being themselves?
It's never too late to discover who you truly are, and no matter how long it takes you, no matter how much you need to do it, but you really need to know who you are genuinely, and you can still do it. No matter how old you are, you can still dig deep within yourself and discover who you truly are.
Thank you. That unwritten self we talked about today, they do not die, they just disappear. And here's what we must face honestly. That innocent self does not stay innocent forever. Eventually, the world arrives, and sometimes the world leaves a mark that changes everything. Thank you so much to Daliso. I am Precious Lokomo Gimbulumba, and this is Finding Me, brought to you by Precious Mindset. We will see you next time. It's bye-bye for now. Next time on Finding Me, the Interior, we're going to be talking about the defining challenge that forced people to reconsider everything they thought about themselves. Episode 2, The Marks That Made Me. If this conversation stirred something in you, just take 5 minutes of your time, sit quietly and ask yourself this question. What did I love doing before I learned to perform?
Am I the only person who thinks it's just those people that like to be in other people's heads? They like